All right. Well, why don't you regale us with your week in Pittsburgh?
Okay. Well, I was in Schittsburg for from Thursday until today.
Now, did you spend any time in the actual city, or did you spend the time all on the outside, out the outskirts, out near Moon Township the entire time?
No, I was at Heinz Field on yesterday.
Okay.
I mean, I was in the Heinz Field, whatever the ballroom or whatever you'd call that,
right?
Yesterday, but and I did spend some other time yesterday. I was riding around with Ed on meeting some of his customers and potentially our customers, just kind of shaking some hands and stuff. So yeah, I was in Pittsburgh yesterday.
All right. Well, just without the team loyalty thing,
mm-hmm.
and just for city aesthetics alone,
mm-hmm.
being in downtown Pittsburgh or in the downtown Pittsburgh area,
yeah,
compared to being in the downtown Cleveland area,
yeah.
Which would you prefer?
Wow. Well, it's certainly cleaner in Pittsburgh than in Cleveland. But the chicks are fucking hounds.
In Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the chicks were not. The ones I saw were not very good looking.
You think the chicks in Cleveland are hot?
Hotter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, again, I was only in town for an hour and a half. I might just have caught a fucking, slew of pigs. I don't know.
A slew of pigs.
Yeah, I don't know what I got in front of exactly, but the chicks that I saw were fucking, I don't know, not that good.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know, man. You're saying leave the team loyalty out of it, but it's hard to.
Regardless of the teams involved. I mean, it's a sporting event.
Yeah, I understand that, but
I'm just talking about the overall general area, not
being in the city. I guess I would take the cleaner city.
Yeah,
but then I'd have to watch TV at night and fucking see fucking piss and black, and that would make me not want to watch it anymore.
But let's not talk about teams. We're just talking just the city area, the what do you want to call it? The landscape, or the the view, or whatever you want to call it. It's a nice
area. I mean, it's a nice area. I found the big duck to be stupid as all get out.
That's kind of funny, because when I get into my story, a lady that I met this week actually mentioned that to me.
The big dumb duck.
The big duck.
Yeah, I saw the big duck. We rolled up right next to the big duck. I saw it, 40-foot high fucking duck. Dumb. I so wanted to have like an arrow or something and just shoot it. Just watch that bitch fucking squirt around out there on the fucking lake or on the river. It would have been great.
Sure.
But no, I mean, it's a nice place. Nice area. I've never thought that the city was bad. I just think the people have ridiculously bad taste in sports.
Okay.
I just fucking think that they're, nice enough people, but man, when it comes to watching television from 7 o'clock on or 1 o'clock on a Sunday, they're paint chip eating bummers. They're fucking stupid. Watch fucking terrible sports.
Right.
And for that I wish them death.
Well, you gotta admit though that Heinz Field's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's nice if you like college stadiums. It's an adequate place, I guess.
Okay.
A good high school team would enjoy that place, I would think. Not going to give him any credit. Come on. I will give him some credit. It was nice. It was definitely nice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but before we get into yesterday, I mean, what I was up there for is my friend Ed and I and one other partner are going to be opening a coin-operated gaming museum and Hall of Fame, more or less. It's a big project. It's it's going to be like 350 to 400 coin-operated games that people can come and see, and there's going to be like a whole history of all the all of the games, from back in the 30s when they started making pinball machines to now, and we're going to have a place where you can see the guts of the machines, and we're going to have a place where you can see all the fucking machines, from the oldest shit that we have to the to the newest stuff that is out today, and see a bunch of rare machines that you can't see anywhere. And Ed does have some really rare stuff. And
now, how did Ed acquire all these machines?
He's been buying them for years and years, for 20 years. He's been buying these machines.
And on an average, do you know what kind of money he spent on these machines?
I don't know exactly what he spent. We did talk about that, because we have to do some insurance paperwork on a lot of this stuff. To give you a rough estimate, the average price that we could kind of come to figure out was roughly about, their value is roughly like $3,000 a machine.
Per machine.
Yeah, I mean, he has some, like he sold one not too long ago for $16,000, a Tron machine.
Right.
But some are more, some are less. But on average, you would think of roughly $3,000 a machine.
Wow. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Chris, question.
Yep.
About the games. Is skee ball one of them?
No ticket games. All pinball machines or video games only.
So, what would be the oldest one that you have?
The oldest one that we have is a 1943 something. I have it written down somewhere, not in front of me, but it's from 43. It's a pinball machine.
Sweet.
And it's old looking. It's made of wood. It's got wood bumpers. Thing looks old as shit, but in good condition. Works. I played it.
Are they going to be behind glass, or can people play them, or what?
Well, we're going to have two sections. We're going to have one that's going to be like the kind of Hall of Fame, or the Hall of Fame and Museum type thing, which is going to be kind of like the history of gaming, where you can walk up on it. It will be roped off, and you can see, this one from the 40s. You'll be able to see, and you'll be able to see the guts of one machine, and you'll be able to, see some of the bigger stuff that was super impactful. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Asteroids, and then some of the rare stuff that Ed has as well. Like he has one called Thunderball. They only made 10 for prototypes, and then they scrapped the idea. But there's only like 3 that are still in existence, and Ed has one. So, he's got a bunch of that kind of stuff too. So we'll have like kind of one half of the thing is going to be where you can see the history and the rare stuff and stuff that you've probably never seen before. And then the other half, once you walk around the corner to the other half, then there'll be, 200 or 300 games that will be open play, and you can play all day if you want to. You'll play pretty much anything you want. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's really a cool idea.
Do you collect the coins from those?
No, there's no coins.
Oh,
we're just going to leave them. We're going to leave them on. You pay a fee to get in, and then it'll be on. They'll be on. You can play all day long. For nothing. For your entrance fee.
I applaud you, sir. Who else would even come up with the idea for this kind of thing?
Well, I wish I could take full credit that it was my idea, but it is not. It is Ed's idea, and I was brought in to put business behind his passion, so to speak.
Meaning your money bags.
No. Definitely not that, Ed. Neely, I think you could speak on that. Ed has a whole lot more money than me.
Well, in case the fuckers in the chat room were wondering why I brought up skee ball, I had two totally stupid reasons for bringing up skee ball.
Why is that?
One was a company I used to work for actually supplied them with balls.
Oh, nice.
The wooden
and
balls?
Number two, I actually saw skee ball mentioned in a 1925 PG Wodehouse book.
Oh, nice. Wow, they had it all the way back then, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Did they have a guy that sat behind it and rolled the ball back?
That I don't know. It was just mentioned in passing.
Nice.
Along with a carnival attraction that I'm sure Chris will have all sorts of dirty ideas about, called the Jiggle Joggle.
Joggle tip machine.
Keep it in your pants. Fuck you, pal.
All right.
Hand job.
Nice.
Me personally, I wouldn't mind a whack-a-mole machine, but I'm sure that's not in the realm of video games.
Yeah, there's not a whack-a-mole machine in there. Although we do have, I think Ed said it was from the 50s, maybe early 60s. The original, before there was Sorry. You remember Sorry, the little handheld thing, and it would light up different colors. And whatever. Atari put out a game that's similar to that, where different lights light up and you push the buttons. So it's sort of like a whack-a-mole type of a
Sure.
thing.
Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and kill, boys. Yeah, that's when I was seeing that and reading that. Dude, Chris, I am so friggin' like happy that, dude, you're getting into something like that, because like gaming like that is cool. I mean, that was like, any kid that came up in the 80s or 90s, that was their kind of the trip to the arcade,
Sure.
Like,
no, dude, it's exciting. I mean, for me, it's a fun business. Dude, I spend fucking thousands of dollars in quarters playing games. So I'm to be around it and to actually, to be part of a business that literally has every game I ever played as a kid. It's fucking exciting. There's no lying about it, man. I got into it because I'm definitely excited about the project, and let's face it, it's not often that you get offered a piece of a business. So it's
hopefully you guys have plenty of these late 80s, early 90s side-scrolling beat-em-ups, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, the X-Men games.
We have all that stuff. We have, dude.
I'll
I'll talk about it a little further, but there ain't a game you're going to name that you remember. The volume of games that he has is sickening. I mean, sickening, and I'll get into it here in a minute. But
original cabinets and flyers and everything on them. Original side work, everything, paneling.
Everything. I mean, almost all of it is original or restored. But even the restores, I mean, he buys the original artwork. He buys the original cabinets. He buys the original, face plates and all that shit.
One last thing I'm going to go into is the last thing. I mean, kids don't know, like, how lucky they are. That's what we did. We'd go just pump fucking quarters into these things, Spend an afternoon and pump quarters into these things.
Huh?
I mean, because back then, Nintendo, let's face it, Atari and Nintendo, it was shitty graphics compared to anything on a machine.
Right.
Like, up until recently, you couldn't, up until maybe the last 15 years, 20 years, you couldn't fuck with those things,
No, not at all.
I mean, just in pure volume and everything, you could not fuck with them.
No, not at all, dude. I mean, it's...
All right, well, hail and kill, fuck you, pal. Hand job.
No, so anyway... So I go to Pittsburgh, and I have to. Basically, I was asked a few weeks ago to be a part of this thing, and I said sure. I mean, it's a big opportunity, and I didn't realize how big it was till I actually got there.
Sure.
And I saw the volume of games that Ed has. I mean, I've been there. I've been to he has a warehouse, and he lights it up, and he's let my kids go there for birthdays for a couple of years, for 2-3 years. And we would go up there and my kids would play games all day.
Right.
That was their birthday party.
Sure.
But what I didn't realize was just how much stuff he had. So he has this big warehouse. It's like 8,000 square feet.
Okay.
With probably 400 machines in it. And I mean everything you can possibly think of. Well, what I never did, because you never think of it, was I never walked around the outside of the building, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the building is 2 shipping crates like you would get on a boat.
You mean like the containers?
Containers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 shipping containers filled with more games.
Wow.
And then yesterday, he's like, I got to show you the rest of the games. And I was like, what do you mean the rest of the games? How many fucking games do you have? So we go over to another warehouse in another part of town. And there's another 500 games.
Wow.
I mean, Ed probably has over 1,000 games.
Wow.
He said 800. There's no way it's only 800.
Now, are any of them repeats?
Oh, yeah. A lot of them are repeats.
Okay.
He's got 8 or 10 asteroids and Donkey Kong. The biggest name stuff he's got tons of.
Sure.
Your Donkey Kong, your Pac-Man, your
Galaga.
Space Invaders, your Missile Command, those games. He's got tons of those.
Sure.
But just the volume of, has so many games that I had never even seen before and heard of. And he had so many games that had little plaques on them that were like, yeah, this is number 31 of 200. You know, that were all like special edition games and shit. And, you know, it was just, the volume was ridiculous how many games there actually were. So I was up there to, you know, start the process. That's what we were doing this weekend. We were working out some legal stuff, and we were starting the planning phase. You know, what are we going to do? You know, how are we going to build out the museum? What are we going to use for power? What are we going to use for, you know, a driveway? How are we going to build, you know, this and that and that and this, you know, blah, 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 business crap. And that's what I was up there for a couple of days, 2-3 days, was to, you know, do that, take a bunch of pictures for the website so that I can get the website started, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that Ed had on the agenda while I was up there was he had these tickets to this business thing with the Steelers.
Okay.
It was a fashion show. It was called Steeler Style. It was a fashion show last night.
Okay.
And it was put on by, you know, the coach of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and his wife. I guess his wife is a fashion designer or something.
Okay. And what was the reason for this?
It was raising money for cancer.
Okay. Cancer.
Cancer Foundation.
Gotcha.
Thing. So we go to this thing, you know, it was kind of it wasn't a shirt and tie thing, but it was like one step down from that. Like, you had to have a nice shirt and nice shoes and that kind of shit. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, we played the game. We went up there, you know, and go to this Steeler thing. And at this event, now, you know me, I am a diehard Browns fan, hate the fucking Steelers. Not in my element at all. We go to walk in at Heinz Field, parked, and we go to walk in, and they have like the Steeler cheerleaders and cheer squad or something cheering as everybody walks down the red carpet.
So everybody felt like a star as you went busting out on the field, huh?
It was well, I mean, you were in like a banquet area of some sort.
A banquet hall.
Yeah, but it was huge. It was like half the stadium long.
Sure.
And so we go into this thing, and now everybody's cheering or whatever. And then you have like it was like a total red carpet scenario where you have a wall that you stand in front of, and everybody gets their picture taken. And, you know, you walk in and somebody greets you with a drink and with food. And, you know, I mean, it was cool. It really was kind of cool. So we go in, and you know me, I'm not exactly shy. So we walk in, and there's an old guy standing right sort of by the front talking to some girls. And Ed says to me, he goes, "Hey, you know who that is?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Hey, that's Art Rooney, the owner of the team." So immediately my phone's out of my pocket. I'm like, "Take a fucking picture." Take a fucking picture. I'm going to take a picture with Art Rooney.
Sure.
So I walk up and I asked him, I say, "Hey, Mr. Rooney, can I take a photo with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." You know, he was all cordial.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Shook my hand. Nice guy. Took the picture, take a picture with them. And me being the total dick that I always am, I asked him. I just looked right at him. I said, "Hey, does it bother you that the Browns have a better record than the Steelers this year?"
Well, I mean, you know, they are 0-4. So, you know, I mean, I can almost get that. And if I don't even know if I would be offended by that.
Well, he did. I don't think he realized I was a Browns fan, because I certainly wasn't wearing Browns gear.
Right.
You know, and I mean, he gave me all the answers that he would give a fucking concerned Steelers fan. You know, he gave me the whole, well, you know, we're going to try our best, and, you know, hopefully we can get it turned around, and we're going to try our hardest. Blah, 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 you know, it was that kind of an answer. And I was like, "Okay, well, thanks so much," you know, right, and I walked away.
Well, you know, you are meeting a franchise.
I'm meeting a billionaire.
Yeah, long-term franchise owner.
Yeah. I mean, I just was like, wow, I just fucking took a picture with a billionaire. And I mean, I know that shouldn't be impressive or anything, but it kind of is. You know, when you think about how little money we make by comparison, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Especially since the Rooneys have ruled football for decades.
Yeah. And I mean, just a nice enough guy. But, you know, so we go into this place, And we walked around for a little while. We looked at different stuff they were auctioning and selling and whatnot. And what was cool about this event, and I wish they would do this in Cleveland because I would definitely go to an event like this. All the players, you know how normally at these kind of things that whoever the quote-unquote celebrities are, they kind of kept away from the people.
Yeah, they shuffle them in and shuffle them out.
Yeah, it really wasn't like that. I mean, the players were just hanging out all over the place.
So they were just mingling with everybody.
Yeah, and they were all really nice. I mean, I met a bunch of players. I don't know who I met, but, because I didn't recognize any of them, and Ed didn't even recognize some of them. Because he says the team blows and it's all like rookies this year. I don't know. You watch it. Is it a young team?
It is a young team.
Yeah, because I mean Ed lives there and is a season ticket holder and he didn't know half the people.
Well, they did trade away a lot of their veteran players.
Yeah, but I mean it was cool. I met the Pouncey brothers, Marquise and what's the other guy's name? Maurice.
There's the center. They're Marquise Pouncey. He's out for the season.
Yeah, he plays for the Steelers, and his brother plays for
the Bengals, I think.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
They said the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But I met those two guys, and they were okay. And of course I had people texting me that if you see that guy, kick him in the knee to keep him out. But yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that. I'm trying to work business here. I'm trying to build some camaraderie.
Yeah, build some goodwill.
Yeah, but I met those guys and saw Ben Roethlisberger, didn't shake his hand or anything. I didn't want to get raped, so I stayed away. But I did see him. Met Troy Polamalu. Nice guy. He came over to our table.
Did he cut his hair yet? Because he was supposed to cut his hair for some charity.
No, his hair is still there.
Because I know he's going to cut it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be for some charity. He's going to cut his hair.
Yeah, no, he still had the long hair. Who else did I meet? Ike Taylor.
Okay.
Met that guy.
Lineman.
Yeah. Met the running back. I don't know what his name is. Something Bell.
Levon Bell.
Levon Bell. Met that guy. Emmanuel something.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Sanders.
I don't know the Steelers players even. So,
right.
I could have been meeting anybody. It didn't matter.
Right.
It's just like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And I mean, it was cool. It was definitely cool. But at some point we got shuffled over to our seats for the dinner, and we went and we took our seats, and they had a dinner which was shitty, and
the dinner was shitty.
The dinner was terrible.
What did they serve?
Some kind of fish.
Oh, okay.
It was like some sort of fish thing with like I don't know, some sort of lettuce or something underneath it, and like pecans or something. I don't know. It was tiny is what the problem. I mean, we didn't eat at all during the day because we knew we were going to this dinner, right? And we knew it was $250 a plate, so we expected a decent plate of food, right? This was like one of those fucking designer dinners that you see that they put in movies so that people laugh at it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this was. I mean, it was this little fucking tiny piece of fish. And like some pecans and shit. And literally when the lady served it, I said, "Is this the appetizer?" And she just laughed at me. She's like, "No, this is the main course."
Yeah, it's a low cancer dinner.
Oh, it certainly was. No way you get cancer off of eating anything in that small of a portion. You could eat cancer and not get cancer from that.
Sure.
It was tiny. By comparison, the dessert that they brought was like this little piece of cake, which was bigger than the dinner. And I'm not even making that up. This little tiny piece of cake was bigger than the dinner itself. It was not literally after the thing, we went and had pizza.
Sure.
Because the fucking dinner was a joke.
It's like, we're starving.
Yeah, it really was. We were hungry at that point. But so we ate our dinner, and then after the dinner, then they did the fashion show, and they had a lot of hot chicks. I'll give them that. They must have brought them in from another city, comparatively from what I saw before. They shipped them in from New York or somewhere.
Sure, I saw you took a picture with a cheerleader or something.
I did. I got a picture with a cheerleader, and she wasn't really that hot.
Yeah, she was okay. She was just average.
She's just average. In most cities she wouldn't be able to fucking, serve in the lunch line at the high school. But in this event she was a cheerleader. But yeah, nice. Took a picture. So they do this fashion show, and I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was fine. It was fun, I guess, watching all these different players. But it was cool that the players were just hanging out and having fun. Again, to me, that was the coolest thing. Not that it was famous people as much as it was just, it was cool to see these guys just out sort of having fun and mingling and, not being douches like they probably wanted to be, some of them. Some of them didn't want to be there. And we're, because literally it was the whole team. I mean, the only guy that was noticeably not there was the beard guy.
Brett Kiesel.
Brett Kiesel was the only guy I did not see. But I mean, that's even my friend Ed and his friend Mike that were with me. They both were surprised that Roethlisberger was there.
Right.
Because, he's obviously the big name. And everybody was sort of surprised that Troy Polamalu was there.
Right.
But I mean, literally the whole team. I mean, when they were doing it, because they were announcing each player by number, and it was like, fucking, hey, this is taking forever because they had 50 guys.
Nice.
They had 50 guys, and they had this long runway that they had to walk way down the runway, like from one end of the room all the way to the other, and then off the stage. It was this long thing, and they had dancing and shit in between, little segments, and they had the kids come out and dance around and shit. It was fun. And don't get me wrong. It was definitely a fun event, but man, was I out of place being a Browns guy. just totally out of place and hearing these guys, the black and gold forever. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Fucking hope your team never wins a game.
Nice.
So that was that night. And then today was just more work and finishing up what we were doing. And then I drove home, in time to do the show. So. Sure. That was my Pittsburgh excursion, one of many to come.
Well, hey, I'd trade places with you in a minute.
I mean, well, I know you would have loved this event, dude, because you're a Steeler fan. I would think a Steeler fan would have loved this event.
I would imagine.
But for me, I mean, I definitely had a good time, but I would have liked to seen, a better team.
Right.
Better team, better cast of characters. Maybe they could give Jimmy Haslam home release so that I could witness him in there too, meet him. Something like that would be good.
Right.
But that was my Pittsburgh excursion, and boy, did I you saw it on Facebook. I was getting the shit kicked out of me for being there.
Well,
I was like, whatever, I don't care. I mean, whatever. People are gonna say whatever they're gonna say, but you know what? Anybody else in that situation does the exact same thing. You're being handed a business. All you got to do is be nice to people. Right, I think I can swing that.
And you're at an exclusive event.
Well, that was it. It was, dude, there was no doubt in my mind that everybody in that room had more money than me. God damn, man. I mean, there was at one point, we walked by this guy that was a total fucking nerd. Looked like the lead guy from Revenge of the Nerds. Just this gangly looking fucking dork with big fucking stupid looking glasses and a goddamn supermodel on his arm.
Of course.
And you just knew. You're like, man, this motherfucker's got 50 million plus in the bank.
Yep.
To be pulling that kind of pussy.
Money talks.
Oh my God. I was like, wow. I was like, wow, money certainly does talk here.
It does.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of money in the room. And all the sponsors and everything were giant names. There was no fucking Mickey's Pizza and Pub. There was none of that. Everything was this fucking hospital and
Johnson & Johnson and
Time Warner Cable and this newspaper or whatever. I was like, wow.
U.S. Steel and
exactly every big name business you can think of in Pittsburgh was a sponsor.
Sure, of course.
The whatever the hospital, like 2 or 3 hospitals,
Children's Hospital and Methodist Hospital, and
it was a big deal, and it was definitely kind of weird for a fucking podunk piece of shit like me to be at something that big, but it was fun. Had a good time.
Well, it's good.